There was a time in my life when watching a Disney movie would hardly be something to record a video for or even mention to another human being. I have a wife and 4 daughters. Disney movies are ubiquitous. I've seen a lot of them, and some of them I've seen many times. However, since the quality of their movies has been subpar, and as my daughters got older, we all stopped watching them. So I was surprised to wind up seeing this one. In my opinion, Disney is more interested in destroying storytelling through ham-fisted injection of identity politics than they are in telling interesting stories. I had grown tired of being preached to by people with bad ideas of what is compelling, so I stopped paying attention. I had no idea what this movie was. I had no idea it was released. My wife was looking for something to do, so she bought us all tickets to go see it at the Alamo Drafthouse. For those of you who are uninitiated, the Alamo Drafthouse is where you attend a quote-along of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Bad British accents mandatory. Or it's where you go to watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, dressed up to look like one of the characters, or it's where you go to enjoy some adult beverages and food while you watch the greatest of all Christmas movies, Die Hard. So, stuff like that. The Alamo Drafthouse at 11 p.m. for a Disney movie? Sure, why not? To the surprise of absolutely no one, we were the only people in attendance. We settled in and the girls ordered food and drinks. I reclined in my chair and promptly dozed off once the movie started. In and out of consciousness, I finally came awake during one of the musical numbers. I'll say this for Disney. Their music is typically top-notch. And this movie had some decent music. The song that finally got me paying attention was We Don't Talk About Bruno. Great tune. But that's about all the good I have to say. For those of you who want more from movies than simple mindless entertainment, this is not your show. However, if all you want is some mindless entertainment and have the ability to ignore the cavalcade of virtue signaling and pandering that is the hallmark of modern Disney, you might just enjoy this. Taking the temperature of the 6 people who went to the showing, I did not hate the movie, but had some legitimate gripes about it. My wife liked it as a mindless 2-hour escape. My 2 youngest daughters loved it. My 2 oldest daughters were ambivalent about it. So Encanto has properly divided my family. This is your spoiler alert. If you don't want spoilers, stop watching or forever hold your peace. However, as an added bonus, you can point out any plot points that I mangled because, as I mentioned, I was dozing through part of this movie. The movie tells the story of a matriarchal family that establishes a town centered on a magical house. You find out later in the movie how the house came to be and the pain that was there at the beginning. But such weighty matters are left to later in the movie. The first half of the movie is taken up with various song numbers that introduce the family members. And this is my main annoyance with modern Disney movies. They keep making the same mistake. They try to replace character development with diversity celebration. Like I had mentioned, I dozed off through the first 45 minutes of the movie and did not miss much. When the Bruno tune finally nudged me into paying attention, I was able to track the story just fine. My main disappointment in the movie is that the story is weak, and it wouldn't be if the scriptwriters would focus on character development rather than celebrating each character as they are. Through hardship, loss, and pain, this matriarch finds a location to settle and raise her young family. That story is established and would make for an interesting movie in itself, but instead, a magical house arises out of nowhere. This matriarch raises her 3 daughters. They have kids of their own. The house imbues the descendants in this family with unique magical gifts. One of the matriarch's daughters can heal people through her food. Another one commands the weather. Supernatural and unexplained, of course. As I mentioned, a town springs up around the magical house and its magical family. Things are going well until the magical house begins to fall apart. The magic fades. The gifts begin to fade in its residents, and the house eventually collapses despite efforts to save it. The matriarch blames the house's collapse and death of the magic on one of her granddaughters, who, for some reason, never received one of these magical gifts. This granddaughter eventually finds her cousin Bruno, who was outcast from the family due to unpopular visions he had of the future. Geez, talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Bruno has a vision involving the restoration of the house, but as typically with visions, it is unclear what the vision means. The granddaughter's story arc pivots on her deciphering Bruno's vision and bringing her grandmother's boomer thinking into a new understanding of family. So you would think this granddaughter replaces the magical house with the diverse wealth of talents that the thriving town now has at its disposal that are not magic and granted via the house. That would sort of make sense. The idea is that this granddaughter discovers that her family is more than the narrow gifts bestowed by the house. How convenient and self-serving, seeing as this particular granddaughter never received one of those gifts. The result is that once the granddaughter cures her grandmother of her boomerism, voila, the magic house returns. So we started with an unexplained magical house appearing out of nowhere. It collapses for unknown reasons and magically returns. If the house could be rebuilt by the talents already in the town, why does the magic return? What lessons has anyone learned? Is the magic a crutch only needed until a critical mass of talent accumulates? Is the magic even a positive force in and of itself, or is it a force that is a side effect of the family? And finally, is the magic amoral, and as such is something that can both help and harm? None of these questions are answered. As with most movies these days, supernatural things happen without explanation. It's like the screenwriters get bored and decide to suddenly end the movie. For what it's worth, you could see a decent trilogy being built on this story, but instead we get this paper-thin, impatient facade. So there you go, the dude perspective on Disney's Encanto. I hope you liked the video. If you did, like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. Comment, always comment, engage with the content, and enjoy life, if I recall correctly.